The biggest winners and losers of the 2024 NFL Draft first round is going to be discussed in today's video, and what a start for the Chicago Bears. Now, over the past several years, the Bears have dealt with Justin Fields, Mitch Trubisky, Andy Dalton. They get it answered tonight with Caleb Williams. And what they did not do right with Justin Fields, with no receiving core, with no weapons, they have done the exact opposite 3 years later with Caleb Williams. Not only do they have DJ Moore and Keenan Allen and DeAndre Swift, even for him to hand the ball off to, they drafted Rome Odunze at pick 9, who was one of the best receivers in the class. I personally had him as my wide receiver 3, and the Bears are without a doubt big winners. They exit the first round of the 2024 draft as not just winners, but now true contenders in the NFC. I genuinely cannot wait to see what they're going to do moving forward. Now, Jayden Daniels enters a not bad situation for a rookie. I mean, out of the 6 quarterbacks taken, it's definitely not the worst. The team has a new owner, coach, and now they have a new quarterback. They're all going to grow together. Now you have Terry McLaurin, you have Jahan Dotson. I'm eager to see what they do on day 2 in terms of bringing in offensive line depth, because for me, that is a bit of a concern at this point in time. But look, anytime you have an electric and exciting football player like a Jayden Daniels enter your franchise, it's hard not to get excited about that. They gave it an A grade. I'd personally give it like a B+, but I thought it was a solid pick for Washington. Now, New England with Drake May concerns me. Not because I don't think Drake May is going to be a good player or anything like that. I worry a lot about the situation he's in. He's going to be throwing to guys like Tyquan Thornton, Pop Douglas, Kendrick Bourne, Juju Smith-Schuster. I really, really worry about Drake May. I know they have Jacoby Brissett, and I know that he's going to sit for a year, but Drake May, personally, when you had an option, not an option, but when there was a chance that he was going to go to Minnesota to throw to, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, for me personally, Drake May is one of the bigger losers from round 1 of the draft. Of course, I want him to do well, and I wish him the best moving forward, but I have a lot of concerns with the Patriots moving forward. I mean, do they get a T. Higgins? Do they get a Brandon Ayuk? What is the plan moving forward? Now, Marvin Harrison, I would be absolutely shocked if he's not a perennial 1,000-yard player, especially if he plays all 17 games. That's an easy A+ pick for the Cardinals. Big winners there in the desert. Even the Chargers, big winners as well. There were talks that they would get J.C. Latham, that they might even draft him over Joe Alt. And as much as I like J.C. Latham, I thought that was always going to be a reach. I don't really worry about Joe Alt moving to the right side at all, because we're talking about a guy that 2 years ago, that was a tight end, and then in less than 2 years, he became an All-American left tackle. So I don't really worry about Joe Alt potentially switching to right tackle. Love that. Big winners. And the Chargers want to pound the rock. They want to establish dominance up front. You have 2 good tackles for a long time now in Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt. Absolutely love that for them. Now for the Giants at pick 6, A+ pick. I was scared for JJ McCarthy or anybody, but mainly JJ just because he is a developmental quarterback where Penix and Bo Nix are both 24 years old. You generally know what you're getting there. But I was very scared that one of those guys were going to enter this situation, mainly JJ, and that the Giants were going to say, look, kid, we drafted you in the first round. You have to figure it out. You have to make it happen. And I'm glad they didn't do that to him. Malik Neighbors is a blue chip talent. He's going to be the best receiver this franchise has had since Odell Beckham by far. Giants fans are going to absolutely love Malik Neighbors, and I love this pick for them. So great pick by the Giants at pick 6. Now, pick 7 to me was a little just weird, because what I thought the Titans were going to do was draft Joe Alt. Ultimately, they didn't have the chance to draft Joe Alt, but by drafting Latham, I like JC as a prospect a lot. He's a big mauler. He is a guy that will set the tone, but they just got out of the Mike Vrabel, the punch you in the mouth era, if you will. And to me, it's kind of like the meme where that like the grandfather is like, or the dad is like, he has a Christmas present and it's like a plaid shirt, and he's like holding up a new plaid shirt and it's the exact same thing. And it's like, are we just recreating what we just did for the past few years by bringing in Latham? So not really a winner or a loser, just kind of a weird pick. I mean, I like the pick, but I was just taken back by it, to say the least. I thought Olu would have been the pick, but I like the pick, but I was just kind of shocked by it, I guess. Now, Atlanta at pick 8, Kirk Cousins is one of the biggest losers from the draft. Kirk specifically signed in Atlanta because he knew Minnesota wanted to move on. There was no doubt in Kirk's mind that the Vikings, they want to go young, which we'll get to, and Atlanta just turns around, gives him $180 million, and says, you know what, we're going to take Michael Penix. I did not like this pick because the whole point of having a rookie quarterback and a rookie contract is to build around that player, and now they're not going to have the opportunity to. Now, if Penix works out and eventually becomes like a Jordan Love type player, nobody's going to care. But specifically on this night, Kirk Cousins is without a doubt one of the biggest losers from the 2024 draft, especially when you thought you were coming here to compete for Super Bowls and Rome Odunze was staring you in the face. So Kirk, personally, a biggest loser, but if this pick works out, nobody will remember this night, nobody will care on this night, but it was not a good night for Kirk specifically. Now, the Vikings, we're going to discuss both JJ and Dallas Turner here. They had to fill the quarterback spot. That's what the review says from Prisco, so it makes sense to take McCarthy. I don't love him as much as others do, but it will be interesting to see how KOC and the gang make it work. Look, if JJ is a bust at the NFL level, we're going to know pretty quickly because this situation is as bust-proof as you're ever going to have. Two great receivers. To me, the best receiver in football. A top 5 tight end in TJ Hawkinson. Two great tackles in Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill. Of course, as a Vikings fan, I wanted Drake May, but I didn't want to give up 4 first-round picks for Drake May. So I like this pick, especially with what you're getting from JJ. JJ was a winner. He's good on the run. And not only that, but JJ told prospects at Michigan if they were thinking about coming to Michigan just to party, just to leave. Just don't even worry about coming. So you like that attitude as well. Now, Dallas Turner, absolutely love that for the Vikings. Look, they walk out of the first round with J.J. McCarthy and Dallas Turner, and especially Dallas, who, there were concerns with the Vikings' defensive line last year, especially with losing Danielle Hunter in free agency, but they replaced Danielle with Dallas Turner, Jonathan Grenard, and Andrew Van Ginkel, and I thought the Vikings were pretty big winners on this night. Now, we discussed Olu Fashanu. I'm a big Olu guy. I've been a big Olu guy, and I love the idea of him coming in behind Tyron and Morgan Moses. And he can play either tackle position, and he will be the left tackle of the future ultimately, but Tyron Smith hasn't played a full season in forever, and I want to say it was since 2015, so you have a guy that's going to take over at some point, and Olu's probably not going to give the job back. Is he going to be a development tackle at first? Yes, but I love the pick, and I thought the Jets were pretty big winners here. Now, Bo Nix, I'm bigger. I like Bo Nix. I like him as a prospect. I think he gets a lot of flack for his time at Auburn that a lot of people don't give Jaden Daniels the same flack for his time at Arizona State, and it's just kind of like, we'll take the positives from Jaden at LSU, and we'll take the positives with Bo from Oregon, but we're not going to mention the Arizona State days. We're only going to mention the Auburn days. So I don't think Bo's evaluation has been fair at all as a prospect, but I worry about Bo in this situation because of the lack of weaponry, the lack of just talent around him, and I really, really hope the Broncos have a plan. I don't want to say Bo Nix is a loser because he's a top 12 pick. He's ultimately a first-round NFL quarterback. Good for him. Congratulations on living the dream. But I worry about the situation. Now, Brock Bowers, love this pick. Brock Bowers is a phenomenal receiver. I know they just took Michael Mayer last year at the top of round 2. I still think they can carve out roles for both players. And if you have Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer along with Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers, that is a very formidable offense, whether it's Gardner Minshew, whether it's Aiden O'Connell, or even a guy that they take next year in the first round. I like what the Raiders are building. I was kind of surprised by this, but I think one of the biggest winners in the Raiders organization is whoever their quarterback is. Now, Talisi Fuaga for the Saints fills a major need. This was, to me, was an A-plus pick. I didn't think Fuaga was going to be there. He is a kick rear end, take names later type player. Absolutely love Talisi. And there's a lot of uncertainty around Ryan Ramczyk moving forward. I was never a fan of Trevor Penning. Love the pick for the Saints. A-plus grade. Laiatu Latu, love the pick. I know I'm saying I love the pick a lot, but look, guys. Laiatu Latu, great football player. And not only that, but you place him on a defensive line with DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart, Kwity Paye. Latu's not going to be the main center of attention. So I like this pick a lot for the Colts. I wouldn't say, I love it to the level of some other ones. I like it a lot. But Latu, big winner personally from day one. And speaking of big winners, again, the next couple are going to be all winners. We'll get to a loser here in a couple picks. But Byron Murphy, the Seahawks teams have just absolutely ran on them over the past few years. They've been bottom 5 in run defense. The Seahawks head coach Mike Macdonald had Justin Madubuike this past year. I'm a big Madubuike fan, and he gets his own version of Madubuike and Byron Murphy. It's going to take probably a year or two for Murphy to really get up to that level Madubuike played at over the past year, but I love the selection for Seattle, and that's a start of, not getting your rear end kicked in the run game as much as they have over the past few years. This is quick for Cincinnati. Look, Amarius Mims, great offensive lineman. You have a $250 million investment plus in Joe Burrow. You have to protect him. As much as Bowers would have been a fun projection for them, you got to eat your vegetables before your desserts. Amarius Mims, love the pick. Jared Verse, love the pick because you have to replace Aaron Donald. Obviously, Verse is not a defensive tackle, and he's not going to replace Aaron himself, but you have to do that collectively as a unit. Now they have Verse, now they have Kobe Turner, now they have Byron Young. I don't think Byron Young is going to be able to play at the level he did last year, every single year for the rest of his career. He's also 26 years old. I like this selection a lot, and the Rams continue to get better on their after the loss of Aaron Donald, but they get better on the defensive line, and I like this spot for them. Troy Fautanu, one of the better value picks of the night. Steelers, big winners. Fautanu has inside-outside versatility. Love the spot, love the pairing. Now, Chop Robinson, I did not like this pick. I was not a fan. I liked it in the sense that they, have a replacement or a long-term deal for Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips, especially because they're going to miss the first part of next year, but I thought there were better prospects on the board. I thought Quinyon was a better prospect than Chop. I thought Graham Barton was a much better fit for the Dolphins. Now, I just wasn't a big fan of Chop Robinson. Hope it works out, but I thought the Dolphins were kind of losers for this selection here. Quinyon Mitchell, A+ grade. How he lets the board comes to him, gets the top corner. He's a beast, man. I mean, he is. Howie Roseman just does it every year. He just does it every year. Phenomenal A+ pick. Brian Thomas Jr., Jags, big winners. Trevor Lawrence, big winner. You trade back from pick 17. You get a lot of capital for next year, a 3 and a 4 next year, and you get Brian Thomas Jr., who was the 4th best receiver in the class. A+, huge win for the Jags. Lions, they trade up in front of the Packers again to get a corner. They did it last year for Brian Branch, although Branch is, a nickel. He's a hybrid, but Terrion Arnold was a player the Packers were going to absolutely target. The Lions give up their 3rd round pick to move up in front of Green Bay to get him. Love that for them. Jordan Morgan, I was kind of surprised he was taking over Graham Barton. I'm a big Jordan Morgan fan. A little disappointed to see him taking over Graham Barton. I wouldn't call the Packers huge losers by any means, just disappointed, not disappointed, but just a little underwhelmed with the pick. Now, Tampa, on the other hand, loved the selection, thought it was great value for them, and I thought they had an A+ pick. Big winners to get a top 20 player in the class at 26. Darius Robinson, I'm just going to be honest, I think this is one of the worst picks in the first round. I as much as I love Marvin Harrison Jr., I think there was just better prospects on the board than Darius Robinson. To me, he's a tweener. I'm not a big Darius Robinson guy. I wasn't throughout all the draft process. I thought there were better players. I would have preferred them to move back to 35. Hopefully New England wanted to come up and get a receiver for Drake May. I would have preferred them to try to get that rather than force Darius Robinson at 27. Not a fan of that selection. Now, Xavier Worthy, I'm also not a fan of in the first round, specifically because I don't think he's a first-round player. However, if you're going to have him in any landing spot, this is the landing spot to have him, so it's a little different because of where he landed. I don't think Xavier Worthy is a first-round player. I don't think he's as good as his teammate Adonai Mitchell. But it's hard to kill the pick when it's Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. But I was not the biggest fan of Xavier Worthy as a first-round pick. Tyler Guyton for the Cowboys. They lost Tyron Smith in free agency. They needed to replace the offensive line. I would have preferred them to stick and pick Graham Barton, to be honest, at 24. But Tyler Guyton's still a solid player. And if you can get Tyler Guyton and a third-round pick, I think it's a solid. But I would have preferred Graham Barton. Now, Nate Wiggins for the Ravens. They're big winners, man. They sit back. They do what they do. They let the board come to them. They don't panic, and they take a top 15 to 20 player in this class. Is there weight concerns for Nate? Yes. Does Baltimore have a plan if they took him in the first round? Obviously. Eric DeCosta and Ozzie Newsome over the past 10 to 15 years have been absolutely phenomenal at what they do, and the Ravens are absolutely big winners. Now, I hope you enjoyed. Please comment your biggest winner and loser. I will have written descriptions for 31 and 32. Hope you enjoyed, and until next time, please be safe and have a great day. Love you guys.